Welcome back to the show, Extra Rich. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit the bell button next to it so you're notified when these videos drop. On the menu today, we have the migrant, an illegal migrant sucker punching an Uber rider. All right, let's jump into it.
Welcome back. So our next guest is suing Uber after a shocking attack, which was all caught on camera. Take a look at this. An illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. That attack left him hospitalized with a brain injury, and he is now here to join us and tell us all about what happened here. His name is Brian Coble, and he's the CEO of TC Biofarm. Brian, thanks for coming on this morning. We're glad you're okay right now. Before we get into talking about the suspect here, just fill us in on what led up to this. There's no audio in that video, but we see the guy just get out of the car, you're holding your dog, and then he just clocks you in the face. What happened?
You know, it was a very innocuous interaction.
He got clocked, cleared. And listen, before he gets into his whole explanation, I mean, obviously, it kind of looked like he walked up on him, you know, like they kind of walked up on each other, like maybe something was said. And let that be a lesson to folks. You can be knocked out at any given moment. I don't care who you are, how tall, how strong, how tough you think you are. Stop trying to walk up on folks, bro. If you're not really about that action and ready for that action, don't be walking up on people. Don't be doing that. You know, and fellas, y'all know this. We've seen it. I guess maybe some ladies too. Y'all ladies, you can let me know. But fellas, we've definitely seen some of the guys who do all this talking, right? Blah 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 blah. Man, F you, man. What's up? What's up then? You know, doing the whole nine, walking up on each other, getting in each other's face. You know, I used to like try to get in and break things up. I don't anymore. I don't, bro. First off, I'm finding the nearest exit because nowadays people like to shoot. Okay, but when I was around some of that kind of stuff, I'm not breaking it up. I'm not breaking it up because if you really want that, have at it, right? Because we've all seen the instances in the situations where two guys, they walk up, they get in each other's face, they doing a bunch of lip bumping, blah, 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 blah. Maybe one of them pushes the other one, and nobody swings. Nothing really pops off until somebody steps in and grabs one of them and tries to move them away from the situation. And then that's when the one that's being held back, that's when he start going crazy. Oh man, let me go. No, man. You know, and it's like, bro, you were just in the man's face 2 seconds ago and you didn't want to swing. You know what? We've all seen instances like that. At least I would assume we've all seen instances like that because I know I've seen it on way more occasions than I would like to admit. But yeah, let's hear the explanation for this, man. But stop walking up on folks. Long story short.
Interaction. We had gone to get in the car, as is typical. I leaned in with the service animal to ensure that he was okay with the pet being with me. He said no pets. I said she's a service animal. We clarified that. He objected 2 more times, at which point, which happens regularly, I told him, look, cancel the ride and we'll move on. Right, I'm not here to impose that issue if he's uncomfortable. We walked around the back of the car. Next thing I know, he's out of the car in my face. I put my hand out saying, pet being with me. He said no pets. I said, she's a service animal. We clarified that. He objected 2 more times, at which point, which happens regularly, I told him, look, cancel the ride and we'll move on. Right, I'm not here to impose that issue if he's uncomfortable. We walked around the back of the car. Next thing I know, he's out of the car in my face. I put my hand out saying, get your car. And that's it. Next thing I know, I'm on my back in the hospital.
And here's the profile on this guy, if we can pull this up. He's an illegal immigrant from Russia, 42 years old. He illegally crossed into the sanctuary state of California back in 2022. Then, as usual, was caught and released into the U.S. by the Biden administration. After he attacked you, he was arrested for second-degree assault and battery, then was released on a $10,000 bond. But he is now in ICE custody, and ICE is seeking to deport him. You found all that out after the fact. What was your reaction?
You know, I was shocked. Uber is a $200 billion company. When you get in a car with the Uber sticker on it, it carries that brand weight. It carries the trust that you have in that brand. They imbue it into these drivers. So you would have assumed, and I had up until that date, that they do background checks. They vet these individuals. That they've got a stringent process that's difficult to evade.
Why can't I pause this without minimizing the
And apparently,
there we go. Yeah. Uber is about to get sued out the wazoo. They gonna have to pay up. Pay me my money. You can tell by the way he's talking. Like, he knew their evaluation and everything. Yeah, they gonna have to pay him some money. Okay. Oh, buddy. Uber. Yeah, I hope y'all got some cash on hand. Which I know Uber does, but yeah, they gonna have to pay up. They're gonna have to pay up for sure. He gonna get a nice little check. And the guy wasn't illegal. He was illegally in this country. They hired him and allowed him to drive American. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. He getting a check. He getting a mean check. But also, another thing is, bro, just because you have a service animal does not mean that it's not still an animal. That a dog is still a dog is still a dog. Like, just because it has a service animal label on it does not mean that it's no longer a dog. Like, you can't just be putting dogs in random people's cars, which, granted, I know he drives for Uber, but that is a random guy. And kudos to him as well, to, I believe his name is Brian Cobell. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Kudos to him, because he said that happens quite often, right? Because people don't want other folks' dogs in their cars, you know what I mean? Just because it's a service animal doesn't change the fact that it's a dog. It's still a dog. People don't want dogs in their cars, you know, other people's dogs at least in their cars. So yeah, you're going to run into a lot of that, which he said he does. And that's to be expected.
apparently that's not the case. You know, so I was taken aback, and it made me wonder, you know, how often has this person done it? How many other times is this going to happen? And how do you change that narrative and fix this so that it doesn't happen to somebody else?
And then I understand after this happened, Uber suspended your account while the driver was allowed to keep driving, even though you provided hospital records showing what happened. Fill us in. What did Uber do? How did they handle this?
Yeah, in fact, he picks up an Uber ride about 2 minutes later after leaving me, you know, for death, respectively. So when I got out of the hospital, I realized my account had been suspended. I corresponded with Uber. I sent them the hospital records. I sent them the police report. I actually sent them the contact information for the detective who was working on the case at the time, as well as had them speak to an eyewitness, and gave them my account along with pictures of the actual injuries. About 48 to 72 hours later, Uber just deactivated my account. So it appears to me that this is sort of their MO, right? Which is put yourselves, your end users, your riders in a dangerous situation. If something bad happens, disavow any sort of liability, any responsibility, any accountability. Throw your hands up and say it's got nothing to do with us, and then vilify the victims and attack us. And that seems to be their process. And you know, that's a very immoral way to go about your business, especially when you're a multi-billion-dollar global organization. You would think there would be a little more interest in the human side here.
And real quick, just want to tag out with what Uber is saying about all this. They say, quote, "There's no place for violence on the Uber platform. While we can't comment on pending litigation, Uber is deeply committed to safety and complies with all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations around worker eligibility." Brian, got about 10 seconds left here. Just looking for a yes or no. Have they reached out to you to talk about any potential settlement here?
Not even a little, and that'll tell you exactly what that statement that they lay out really means, right? What commitment to safety do you have if you're unwilling to speak about safety here?
Yeah. Well, Brian, thank you so much.
Yeah, Uber gonna have to pay up. He about to get a nice check. Got me a check, I got a check. Hey, you know, so, hey, maybe there was a little bit of a benefit to getting, I mean, he got knocked out cold. You could tell by the way his body fell. You know, it wasn't like a thing where he just kind of got a little stunned. Like, he was out. out. Like his body hit the floor and you can see like his neck just snap back. That's how you know somebody is really out. When they get that noodle neck going on, that bobblehead, oh yeah, they out cold. Out cold, which is why it's not surprising that he had to go to the hospital, because obviously when you're falling and you're not bracing yourself, protecting your head, and your head hits some concrete, yeah, that ain't gonna be pretty. Not gonna be pretty. Especially not in the front, right? That's really gonna do some work to you. But regardless of where you hit your head on some concrete, it's gonna leave some marks. That's for sure. So, hey man, yeah, he gonna get a mean check. I don't know how much, but it's gonna be a mean check. That's for sure. If y'all know anything more about this kind of stuff, like litigation settlements and that kind of, which I don't. To just be completely honest. Now, I have some common sense, which common sense tells me he gonna get a check, but how much do y'all think he'll get? Let me know. I don't even know where to even begin with that. So I'm interested to see your opinions and your thoughts on how much exactly he's going to get, because he's definitely getting a check. They hired an illegal to drive Americans on American streets, and that illegal assaulted them, knocked them out, sent them to the hospital. And then they kicked him off the platform, just banned him, and didn't want to say anything to him. Oh, yeah. And you can tell he did his research, too. He knew their evaluation and everything. Hey, yo, what's his brother's name? Hey, yo, Brian, send your boy a check, man. I mean, geez, because he about to get paid. Send me a check, Brian. Come on, brother. Send me a check. Your boy needs some cash, man. Anyway, y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions about all of this. Glad that he was all right, because that could have ended real. That could have ended worse than what it did end up being, right? Anyway, peace.